Today our show is called Bartram's Travels, and it is about a man named William Bartram. He lived in colonial America before America became the country that we all live in today. He lived in Pennsylvania, and he was a botanist. He studied plants. He did plant drawings. He found new plants. He discovered how to grow them and to give them to people. And this story is his story, and he wrote a book called Bartram's Travels. Enjoy the show, have lots of fun, and give it up for 4th grade.
Interested in more than growing crops, he becomes fascinated with horticulture, the study of plants.
Ah, a rare find.
John begins to travel and explore the colonial landscape through the Carolinas, Georgia, Florida, and beyond.
He soon collects a garden full of vegetables, plants, and flowers from across the colonies, the most diverse group of North American plants that have ever been collected.
Good morning, friends. How are you this lovely spring day? Amazing. We just came back from Bartram's garden. So many of the flowers are beginning to bloom. The colors are incredible. I want to go see. Should we go now? That Bartram sure does Halloween, making a season of magic.
John Bartram was also father to 11 children,
My finest collection.
including his third son, William, who from a young age showed great interest in following his father's footsteps.
Father, take a look at this one.
As William grew older, John begins to bring him on expeditions to document new plant life and collect seeds and cuttings to bring home to the 8-acre gardens that were beginning to make the Bartram name famous. On these expeditions, William would draw new plants his father would find and begin to prove himself as an expert artist.
Very good, William. The detail is excellent. Your skills are improving.
Friends like Benjamin Franklin spread the word of the amazing collection Bartram was developing in this garden of delights just 3 miles east of Philadelphia.
You really should see Bartram's garden. It's quite impressive. He even named a new type of flowering tree after me. Indeed, Franklina aloptomata. Ooh, ah.
Not everyone understood William's passion for plants and unusual fascination for these colonial times.
Ooh, look, it's William Bartram. He's trying a silly obedience again. Honestly, William, haven't you got better things to do with your time? My mother says no one wants to marry someone who idles their time away, William. I crave some life.
Well, my father studies plants, and he's done just fine, thank you very much. Maybe I don't even ever want to get married. Did you ever think of that?
For shame!
Silly people, what do they know? I'd rather sit all day under a shady tree than listen to them giggle about nothing.
Now, the revolution was looming. Uprisings against the British were becoming common, and whispers were being heard for a fight for independence. The Bartram family was serving both an old master and a new promise. William's father John was finding great success in shipping rare plants across the Atlantic Ocean to England.
Peter, good to see you, my friend. How's London?
Cold and rainy as ever when I left, John. Have you prepared more of Bartram's boxes for your return with? They're becoming quite popular, old chap. 2 new orders of 50 each, from the Dukes of Richmond and Sussex.
Bartram's boxes were prepared sets of over 100 different types of seeds from North America, vegetables, plants, and flowers and plants.
They were becoming incredibly popular among the English aristocracy and were easier to transport across the ocean than live plants.
In fact, Bartram's business grew so famous that the King of England, George III, appointed John as his. Bartram seeds into the royal collection at Kews Gardens.
As the 1770s began, John was slowed in his work from his old age, and the war efforts were reaching their most serious stage.
William, I'm starting to worry about Father. Soon he won't be able to work in the gardens all day. You and I will need a joiner for the sake of the Whitehurst garden.
William and his brother John worked to save the family business. John would continue their father's international shipping, and William would set out to discover and document new specimens.
Father, I promise you, I'll carefully journey south again where the drums of war are quieter. I can do this on my own. I'm ready.
And so, in 1773, William began his journey down the 8 southern colonies, a journey that would take him 4 long years, and what that would see him return to a brand new country, America.
With the sponsorship of Dr. Fothergill of London, I will search the Floridas in the western parts of Carolina and Georgia for the discovery of rare and useful productions of nature, chiefly in the vegetable kingdom.
With the prosperous wind at his back, William set forth aboard the vessel Charleston Packet. How quickly the scene changed.
A bad storm, Captain. It's heading straight for us.
Powerful winds suddenly spread devastation, and the wide ocean, which was gentle, was now thrown into disorder and heaped into mountains, whose white curling crests seemed to sweep the sky.
This furious gale continued for 2 days and nights. Damage to ship's sails, cast furniture, and staterooms, halting Bartram's passage. From Bartram's notes of the storm.
There are few objects at sea to attract the notice of the traveler, but what are sublime, awful, and majestic? The seas themselves. In a tempest exhibit a tremendous scene where the winds seem to set the ocean on fire. On the other hand, nothing can be more sublime than the view of the horizon after the turbulent winds have calmed, and the gentle moon rises in dignity from the east. The seas calm again, the ship set forth, and William arrived safely in Charleston, in the colony of South Carolina.
Good luck out there with your findings, William.
Bartram began exploring outside the city, when, from his notes, nature seemed silent. Then, all of a sudden, a native appeared in the distance. On seeing that he was armed with a rifle, the first sight of him startled me, and I worked to hide by keeping large trees between us.
When he spotted me, he came up on full gallop. I never before was this afraid of the sight of a native, but this time I saw at once that being unarmed I was in his power. I resigned myself, resolved to meet the dreaded foe with cheerful confidence.
The bold Seminole silently viewed me, his face angry and fierce. Shifting his rifle from shoulder to shoulder, I advanced towards him and offered him my hand for confidence, hailing him, brother. Then, with continuing his look in action, he gave it.
Possibly the silent language of his soul during the moment of suspense was this: Thou art my enemy, and thou and thy brethren may have killed mine. Thou art now alone and in my power. Live, go to thy brothers. Tell them thou sawest a Seminole in the forest who knew how to be humane and compassionate.
We shook hands. He told me of the course to the trading house, a 10-mile ride away, and we parted in a friendly manner.
The trading company here received and treated me well. On telling my adventures on the road, particularly the last with the native, the chief replied with surprise and pleasure.
My friend, the series of fortunate men. That fellow is one of the greatest villains on earth, a noted murderer and outlaw by his henchmen. Last evening when he was here, we took his gun from him, broke it in pieces, and gave him a severe punishment. He, however, made his escape, carrying off a new rifle gun, with which he said going off he put the first colonists to memory. Luck has been with you this day.
Bartram continued his travels south, passing through Augusta and Savannah in the Georgia colony, during which he witnessed the autumnal lunar eclipse.
Lo, a dark eclipse of the moon's glorious brightness comes slowly on. Then, a silver thread alone encircles her. At this change, a universal of silence prevails.
It was now March of 1770. Bertram had several short trips to pick up plants along the Altamaha River off Savannah and set his sights and course for Florida. He arranged passage aboard a small vessel at Frederica, destined to a native trading house on the St. John's in East Florida.
On the journey south, Bartram sailed past St. Simon's, Jekyll, and Cumberland Islands, where the captain of the ship stopped to find food for his passengers.
I'm starving.
We had not the good fortune to see any deer, yet we were not altogether unsuccessful. Having taken 3 young raccoons, which are excellent meat, we had them for supper served up to perfection.
The captain then spotted a trading schooner he knew to be returning from St. John's.
Rough news! I predict that you know what to do. Don't leave it, all right? Oi, what news?
Bad. A group of natives have plundered the upper store. The traders have escaped with only their lives.
Only one soul is able to have enough money to act.
Well, that will include the provisions I have sent ahead. Some valuable books and papers I cannot do without.
I must return to Frederica and get further instructions how to proceed. Come, we shall set sail at once.
I think I will stay. Amelia Island is not far. I can call upon Lord Edmund to shelter me at his plantation. Hopefully I can secure passage to the St. John's from there.
With the captain and crew wishing him a prosperous journey, William set on in the face of danger. On Amelia Island, he was received by Mr. Edkin, a trading agent at Edmont's plantation.
William, I have an important business in St. Louis. I insist you retain with me for a few days. You will have passengers for the California of St. John's, and I'll procure you a boat to continue your voyage.
From William's notes, the evening following, we landed on the bay. It was high land covered with orange trees forming a convenient port. We pitched our tent under the shelter of a forest of live oaks, palms, and sweet bays.
Our rest, however, was bothered by the stings of mosquitoes, the roaring of alligators, and the continual noise of the sea fowl, with thousands of them having their roosting places very near us.
3 days after leaving Amelia, we arrived at the California, a public ferry over the St. John's. Mr. Egan, the river here beginning about a mile wide. Mr. Egan, after getting me a neat little sailboat from a large indigo plantation, departed for St. Louis.
From his notes, my little vessel, having a good sail of fishing tackle and a weapon with which to protect myself, I was well equipped for my voyage to the trading house. The orange trees were in full bloom and filled the air with fragrance. The next day,
having a violently leading breeze, I kept as near as east shore as possible, often surprised by the plunging sound of alligators and greatly delighted by the increase of human industry which I'd seen on distant shores.
At night, I stopped in a convenient harbor where I was welcomed by a gentleman, Francis Petito, who invited me to stay the night in his plantation at Switzerland. This very civil man informed me that there had, a few days earlier, been a council held at St. Augustine between the governor of Florida and the chiefs of the lower creeks. After several raids and plunders by some of the creeks, the governor thought it was best to find reasonable solutions before this flame already lit spread to general war.
The chiefs of the culprit bands whose young warriors had created the mischief had vowed to pay the traitors back for their plundered goods. With this news, Bartram was relieved to know that he could continue down the St. John's without fear of hostility in the area.
Just south of the Palaca, William made it to Stokes Landing, where a fellow named James Spalding had built his lower store.
Bertram, good to see you. And thought your father would see you. Einsicht, you make my store your headquarters while here in Florida Colony.
Here he became an object of fascination with the local Native Americans, who nicknamed him Pug Puggy, meaning flower hunter.
One day while working around the store, Bartram discovered his Seminole neighbors were alarmed by a rattlesnake. They asked Puss Puggy to come kill the snake, which Bartram reluctantly agreed to. Later he saw 3 young men approaching. He wrote,
I saw one of them was a young prince who had earlier declared himself my friend and protector. This young champion stood by his 2 associates, one on each side of him, saying that I was too heroic and that it would be good for me to lose some blood to make me more tame.
They gave no time to reply, but grabbed me and my friend. The prince pushed them off, saying that I was a brave warrior and his friend. To this they cheered, clapped me on the shoulder, and laid their hands on their chests in token of sincere friendship, and laughing aloud said I was a sincere friend to the Seminoles.
William joined Spalding traders in mid-April 1774 on a trip westward toward Micanopy and Payne's Prairie.
Come, Bartram, we are heading into Seminole territory. We'll ensure your protection as you search for your plans.
But soon, he broke out from his guise to explore the small lakes and offshoots of the St. John's.
William settled for the night on a high bluff above a natural harbor. From here he could see the opening to a lagoon beyond. Realizing his supplies were low, he gathered wood for fire and set out to fish for dinner.
The lagoon was home to the greedy alligator. Behold his enormous body, long tail, and open jaws. The earth trembles with his thunder.
From his nose, suddenly, a rival emerges from the deep. They dart upon each other. The surface of the lake boils, and a terrific conflict begins. Their jaws clap together, echoing through the surrounding trees. When the contest ends, the loser makes his escape. The proud victor gives a dreadful roar, together with the shouts of his tribe all around, witnesses of the horrid combat.
I was highly alarmed after watching so dreadful a battle. I decided to be speeding my trip to the lagoon to bring some fish home for dinner.
Not wanting to lose his gun overboard in case of a battle, William grabs a club for defense and sails against a line of gators.
From his notes, they gave away. But being pursued by several very large ones, I kept watch and paddled with all my might towards the entrance of the lagoon. Before I had reached halfway, I was attacked on all sides.
2 very large ones rushed up with their heads above the water, roaring terribly and belching floods of water over me. They struck their jaws together so close to my ears as almost to stun me, and I expected every moment to be dragged out of the water. An instant coming back.
I applied my weapons at random, but I was successful in beating them away. When I made for the shore and jumped for my life. The shore, utterly having accidentally made it to the mouth of the lagoon, I quickly went about catching a few fish before the beast returns.
I now returned to camp and was followed by an old yearling one, about 12 feet in length, who kept close after me. When I stepped on shore and turned about in order to draw out my canoe, he rushed up near my feet and lay there for some time, looking me in the face.
I picked up my club and found him with his foot in the boat in search of fish. I soon took care of him and then proceeded to cleanse and prepare my fish for supper. When raising my head, I saw before me the head and shoulders of a very large alligator. Moving slowly towards me, I instantly stepped back, when with a sweep of his tail, he brushed off several of my fish.
It was certainly lucky that I looked up at that instant, as the monster would probably, in less than a minute, have seized and dragged me into the river. This incredible boldness of the animal disturbed me greatly.
After surviving this event and continued explorations, Bartram traveled one last time up to St. John's River in September and left Florida forever in November 1774.
On his return northward, he explored the lands of Cherokee Nation on horseback in the early 1775. Bartram finally returned to Philadelphia in January 1777, a Philadelphia that was part of a new nation, as the Declaration of Independence had been sealed and signed just months before.
Welcome home, William. You've been gone 4 long years. We can't wait to see what you brought back. And not to worry, your brother and the gardens are thriving. Look, everyone, he's back.
William immediately returned to assisting his brother John and running all aspects of Bartram's garden. In the years after, Bartram would assemble the notes from his trip into the book, which has made him most famous. Bartram's travels, chronicling the account of his journey and proving one of the most detailed descriptions of the early American landscape at the time.
Following in the footsteps of my father, John Bartram, royal botanist to the King of Great Britain, I have traveled this new land in search of new plant and vegetable species. This great land, this new land. It is in the book that I venture to not only share these findings with you, but the adventures through which I made these discoveries.
Is it the journey's end or a new beginning? I guess that's up to me. Have I finished what my father began and written his story? Because life is a journey and each new day is a chance to start anew. Your story is written by everything you think, say, and do. Is it the journey's end or a new beginning? I guess that's up to me. Have I finished what my father began and written his story? Because life is a journey and each new day is a chance to start anew. Your story is written by everything you think, say, and do. Your story is written by everything you think, say, and do.
Thank you all so much. We really appreciate it. These guys did an excellent job. We're super, super proud of them. I neglected to thank a couple people before we began because I had a lot going through my mind, but I would like to give a huge shout out to our 4th grade teachers, Dr. Swartz and Ms. McCall, for all of their help, for rehearsals and being so patient with everything. Thank you guys so much. And I also want to thank Cindy Farland, who's backstage with me today, helping us. So please give them a round of applause. Thank you to our families for helping us costume the show as well. We really appreciate it. Thank you for everyone to come together. It does take a village. And remember to get out there and learn something.